Ah, yes, Duels. I'm glad to see this mode return. In the latest Brawl talk, the devs mentioned they would finally be making Duels a permanent mode in the map rotation. Along with this, they decided to add 7 more maps to its map pool. The map we will be looking at today is one that I honestly can't say I was expecting to make a video on, but here we are. Rigged Ravines. Oh boy, this map has only been in the game for one single day and already has the community raging over it. Is it actually a bad map though? Well, yes, you saw the title. Of course it's a bad map. I wouldn't be making a video on it. The question I'm here to answer today is, what makes Rigged Ravines a bad map and how can we fix it? Before I start explaining why the map is bad, I feel it would only be fair to mention what I think it does well first, because there's actually a pretty decent amount. The best thing I can say about this map is that it excels at using tight, narrow corridors to create long lines of sight. Its mid is very similar to the likes of Gold on Gulch because of it, which allows sharpshooters to be a decent option while also giving short to mid-range brawlers a chance to shine. This, paired with the rope fence in the middle of the map, makes for some interesting interactions to say the least. Another thing this does is it kinda discourages camping, at least a little bit. Since the only entrances into mid are tight choke points, camping just to wait until in-game might not go so well. Trying to enter mid with the gas pushing you will more than likely result in a loss. As long as you fight for mid control, your victory is pretty much dependent on your skill. And brawler matchups, but mostly skill. Even though I just praised the middle of the map for being so tight, I don't think making the entire map was the best decision, especially not the back of the map. The backside of this map is straight up atrocious. Just looking at the pathing, there's only 2 narrow paths to leave spawn. Retreating back there is just an instant loss. You might as well just feed the enemy super at that point. Also, what's with the goofy little hideout in the corner? No one is gonna go over there, ever. It's a minor gripe for sure, but there could have at least been another exit out of spawn over there. And while we're at it, break up the big wall right above the spawn area too. It limits your movement quite a bit, and for no apparent reason at all. That, plus adding an exit to the right corner, will give players way more options for leaving spawn. Yeah, all the exits may be tight, but at least you might be able to mix up your opponent with your multitude of options. Moving on to the sides of the map, these are the most optimal places to camp. Despite the choke points, these paths having grass in them completely negate the downside of said choke points. Unless you're a thrower, there is no way you are checking those bushes easily. Because of this, they are really good spots for throwers or ambush brawlers to camp in. You can legit just sit there with Dynastun and wait for the enemy to try and check the grass. It is a super awkward angle, so it'll be pretty easy to catch them off guard. Easiest kill of the century, to be honest. It isn't fun at all to go against, and it definitely isn't skillful. But now that I mention it, none of the grass on this map is particularly easy to check. It is kinda crazy for how little there actually is. Now, normally, I wouldn't talk about camping so much on Duels maps, because honestly, it's just baked into the mode at this point, unless the map is extremely open. With that said, a lot of Duels maps have ways around campers, Tiger Trap being a good example of that. You can camp, but the map's minimal use of walls make it extremely easy to open up. With how big the walls are on Rigged Ravines, it's pretty difficult to open up the map, even for dedicated wall breakers like Holt and Brock. Unless you are running Gray of all characters, you might as well not even try to open up the map. In order to make the map better, we would need to assess what the map does well and what it doesn't. As I mentioned before, having mid be accessible through multiple choke points is a good idea. It discourages camping and gets players fighting for mid control. Keeping mid fairly similar to how it is now is fine. As for the back of the map, I would suggest leaving it open. Like I said before, the back is really difficult to exit after retreating to, and the big walls just make it hard to have any action in that area. Removing them will heavily discourage camping, make comebacks more obtainable, and generally make pathing on the map feel less congested. I decided to put more rope fence to add on to the theme of having rope fence circle around, but I also added some walls near it for some healing. In addition to that, I placed a small patch of grass nearby. It's fairly easy to check, so you probably won't be doing much ambushing with it, but it could be nice for mix-ups or hiding from certain spawns. Overall, I took out a lot of grass on the map and replaced it with more checkable bushes, but I believe it should still be somewhat useful. As for the sides of the map, I opened them up a bit and removed the grass. I also made them slightly less awkward to check from below, but any other angle will still be a little awkward. I think this is fine, to be honest, as it should keep players constantly moving about the map. So yeah, that is how I would fix up rigged ravines. Would this actually be an improvement? Well, I would hope so. If not, what was the point of me making this video? I mostly cleaned up the map a bit and refined what I thought it did well. Of course, the changes on this map don't need to be as drastic as the ones I made, but why not do it anyway? In retrospect, Rigged Ravines isn't as bad as everyone was making it out to be. It just lacked a lot of polish. It had a decent concept and succeeded at executing it somewhat nicely. I think opening up the back and using smaller structures will really help this map out a lot. As long as the middle of the map stays similar to how it is now, the gameplay beats on it should improve quite a bit. I remember seeing a tweet from Frank a while back saying that newer maps usually receive more hate nowadays. He also pointed out that a majority of the criticism they receive on the maps isn't very helpful at all. Hope this video was helpful, as I will try to review new maps as much as I possibly can. I think it will be interesting to see if newer maps are actually as bad as we think they are, or if we are just biased towards older maps. Then again, I doubt the devs will even see this or any of my future videos in the first place, but it's worth a shot anyway. I'm LouPG13, and I'll see you in the next one.